Korean people are really distinctive, or at least from me, to my eyes, like on campus. You could tell when you see the Chinese students, Japanese students, and the Korean students. There's just a different type of style.
한국인들의 무엇이 특별하길래 아시아인들 사이에 끼어 있더라도 단박에 알아볼 수 있다는 걸까요? 펜실베니아 주립대학의 사회학과 교수인 샘 리처드의 강의에서 학생들이 말하는 한국의 특별함, 미국인들의 목소리로 들어보시죠.
We know you're rocking. What's your name, man?
My name's Ruben.
Ruben here. Ruben? What's your Korean name?
Woojin.
Woojin?
Yeah.
How did I do?
Say it again.
Woojin.
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 Yeah, that's pretty. That's
Close
better.
enough?
Yeah.
You're not really, I'm sure, but bro, next slide. Can you answer this question?
Korea is cool because
Yo, wait, hang on. We're starting.
we got kimchi, we got K-pop, we got bulgogi, we got good shit.
Dude, first off, hang on. Good shit. Wait, how do you say good shit in Korean?
Good shit in Korean. I don't know actually.
How do you say we got good shit?
There's 멋있다 or like. Hold up.
Like, imagine your grandmother is watching, so don't say anything.
Okay. My grandma's watching. Yeah. We got good shit in Korea. We have some pretty cool like traditional culture. Like we got dramas, K-dramas.
Yeah. What's K-dramas?
Yeah.
As in Korean. So when you say K, the K before, so folks who don't know, you just use that as like Korean
It
drama.
stands for Korean, yeah.
So when you say K-pop,
Korean pop music.
got you.
Yep.
Okay. What's a K-drama?
K-drama. Well, there's a lot of versions of it, but the most popular one I'd say is the rom-com, romantic comedy. We got good-looking dudes and good-looking girls
Yeah.
performing dramatic scenes on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like they're thinking if it's not porn, like what's the point?
No. We actually don't have that. It's actually banned in Korea.
Banned in Korea?
Yeah.
Porn is?
Yeah.
No kidding.
No, it's banned.
Is that why? Oh, never mind. All right. So what else you got? How about like technology? Like what else is like really awesome?
Give me help.
Like okay, you said K-pop.
Uh-huh.
So what do you? What's
mean?
cool about K-pop?
K-pop. Special effects.
Yeah.
Cool dance groups. I think we have KPMD coming up next.
Yeah.
Those dances are real
A
cool.
lot of dance.
Yep.
A lot of.
Yep.
So if you were to try to convince Penn State students to go to Korea for a study abroad instead of going to like London or Paris or
Yeah.
whatever, what would you say in
Okay.
2 sentences?
Okay. One thing. Penn State has a partnership with Yonsei University. That's one of the top 3 universities in Korea. So you get to study there if you do a study abroad.
People speak English?
Yeah, they're all good at English.
Yeah.
They have an English course like in Korean high school.
So you could go there and you could go if you don't speak any Korean and
Yeah,
you could study
exactly.
abroad.
Yep.
Dude, hipster fan of Korea. So answer that
Big
question.
hipster.
Korea is cool because
Ooh, makeup. I like Korean style makeup. It's a little bit different, softer. What else are you cool for? Colors.
Wait,
flowers.
do you use Korean style makeup?
No, this is not it.
All right, but you like it.
Yes.
So you like it, but
I mean,
you don't
I
use
noticed. I mean, like Korean people are really distinctive, or at least from me, to my eyes, like on campus. You could tell when you see the Chinese students, Japanese students, and the Korean students. There's just a different type of style. I appreciate the fashion, I think. Not that it's made for me
it. Yeah.
as a bigger person, but I like it.
So you like the makeup, you like the fashion. Think it's
Food's
hip.
great.
Yeah. What else?
Skincare.
Dude, yeah, you were talking about that the other day.
Oh, yes, music. I mean, that's pretty much it. I was one of those people that eat, sleep, and breathe K-pop and K-dramas and just like had the merchandise, learned to dance, had our OTPs, just like in it.
So do you watch K-dramas?
Yeah,
Yeah. Subtitle.
of course.
And what is it about them that you like?
Kind of like telenovelas, like Korean, like K-dramas have their own dramatic shit. Like, it's their own. It has their own style. There's just something about it that kind of pulls you in. And specifically with certain ones, like popular ones, or at least years ago, like Boys Over Flower, the appeal is like the way their superstars are in everything. So acting is one of them. So it's just one of those additional ways where as a fan, a fanatic, you get to just absorb something that has their face in it, I think.
Dude, I'm going to tell you why I think you should pay attention to Korea, why it would be really wise, and why it would be really wise if you're thinking about looking forward in the world. If you want to be forward-looking and not backward-looking, you pay attention to Korea. You pay attention to China. You pay attention to the East. I am 100% convinced that the next rise is in the East. It's in Southeast Asia. No question about it. And if I had children, my children would be studying about Korea and China. They'd be learning Korean. They'd be learning Mandarin. I would be sending them to study abroad in Seoul, not to Rome, not to Paris, not to London. I would be, listen, go for it. You want to be part of the future of the world? You go east. Think east. Imagine east. If I were running a university, these would be the language programs that would be blowing up. These would be the cultural programs, the things that we'd be studying. Because I know we don't like numbers. GDP, gross domestic product. So this is sum total of all the finished goods and services that come out of a country. The finished goods and services, including things that are sold internally and that are sold externally. And let me show you this. In 1965, in the UK, the GDP in the UK was $100 billion. In South Korea, it was $3.1 billion. South Korea was a poor country. Like poor. The GDP in Ghana in 1965 was higher. In countries all over the world that I could list them out and you would say, wow, those are really poor countries, were higher than in South Korea. In 2019, the GDP in the UK is 2.8 trillion, and in South Korea, it's actually about 1.6 trillion. South Korea blew up. Things happened in a really, really serious way. Probably in the history of the world, in my study, in my understanding of the world, there's never been a country that has been able to do what South Korea has done economically. Never has happened. And if you want to it's just like thinking about where the future is. You don't go backwards. If I said, hey, we want to think about the future of energy. And here's what we need to do. We need to reopen a bunch of coal mines in the United States. You'd be thinking, man, you're like looking backwards. In fact, you're looking so backwards, you're looking inside of a closet somewhere. And what are you talking about, coal mines? That's not the future of energy in the world. And you want to know what the future of technology and commerce and moving forward, you start looking in this direction. Utterly fascinating. Dude, I have nothing in particular. There's nothing about Korea or China or anything that I feel like somehow connected to. I'm an American. I'm just a person that's looking at this stuff. Can I see a raise of hands? Like, how many of you are aware of Korea's cultural positioning in the world? How many of you have heard of BTS?
한류에는 한계가 없다. 나는 한국 그 자체의 매력에 빠져 40년 가까이 연구했으며 앞으로도 한국은 계속 성장해 갈 것이라 믿는다. 미국 펜실베니아 주립대에서 인종, 성별 및 문화 관계라는 과목을 강의하고 있는 샘 리처드 교수. 그의 강의에는 매 학기 800여 명의 학생이 수강할 정도로 엄청난 인기입니다. 사실 그가 본격적으로 이름을 알리기 시작한 것은 전 세계적인 한류의 유행과 시기가 맞닿아 있습니다. 특히 2018년 강의에서 방탄소년단이 누구인지 모른다면 앞으로 세계에서 경쟁할 수 없을 것이라고 말한 영상이 유튜브로 퍼지며 한류의 인기를 예상한 교수로 명성을 얻기도 했는데요. 그는 한류를 비롯한 문화 현상뿐만 아니라 사회 경제학적 관점과 한국의 전통, 역사까지 폭넓게 조망하며 한국에 대해 잘 알지 못했던 미국 학생들에게 영감을 주고 있죠. 그러나 미국에서 손꼽히는 한류 연구학자인 샘 리처드 교수가 늘 한국에 대해 좋은 점만 이야기하는 것은 아닙니다. 때로는 한국의 현실을 신랄하게 짚어내기도 하는데요. 오늘은 그가 지난 10월 한국에 다녀간 후 미국에서 진행된 강의를 번역해 소개해드리겠습니다.
And my mind goes to two words. And the two words are like, holy shit. Like, what happened? And I start asking myself questions. And the questions are the things that guide me and lead me to keep asking more questions. And I just want to know more, and I want to know more, right? And not Korea is a socioeconomic, geopolitical miracle. What Korea has done, in my lifetime, we'll say in the past 55 years or so, has been something that we've really never seen in human history. To reach a level of modernization, growth, and development that we just have never seen. It's really, if you want to be, many of you are probably fascinated by, Korean culture and K-pop and this sort of thing. But it all comes from something. And if you look at those numbers there, South Korea in 1965, the GDP is 3.1 billion, and now it's 1.8 trillion. Korea, in 1965, the economy was, the country of Ghana was wealthier than Korea. The country of Algeria was wealthier than Korea. Dude, Tunisia was wealthier than Korea. And now Korea is the 10th largest economy in the world. And so if you don't think about, you don't have to think about a lot, really, right? But just that alone, if you have any interest in really kind of understanding, global issues or the world, anything at all, that alone would lead me as a sociologist to say, damn, what happened? And which is, of course, what it has maintained my interest in Korea. I was first interested or introduced to Korea back in the mid-'80s through some of the early to mid-'80s when I had some graduate student friends from Seoul. And I started to really kind of dig into Korean geopolitics and economics and familiarize myself with the culture and a lot of things. And so, I became just fascinated by Korea. And I have watched it, over the course of the past 40 years just expand. And by the way, the U.S. $23 trillion in 2021 last year, right? So just to kind of give you a sense of where the U.S. is. You're a country, if something grows as quickly as Korea has grown and expands, it's never going to happen evenly. It's going to be very, very difficult for Korea to overcome. And by the way, can I see a raise of hands? Like, how many of you are aware of Korea's cultural positioning in the world? Like the Korean wave, like food and music and K-dramas and K-film and so on and so forth. K-fashion and K-beauty and everything K-gaming and K-animation. Like, how many of you are really aware of Korea's position in the world? Raise your hands high. I just want to really see you. And out of curiosity, how many of you have heard of BTS? Huh. And how many of you have heard of Blackpink? I want to talk about a couple of things that are going to frame the conversation we have today. A couple of the struggles that Korea is undergoing right now is trying to figure out how to continue to grow at the pace at which that makes sense, that allows them to sort of sustain, to continue to grow. It's very difficult to do. Housing price, this is the average apartment price in Seoul. And almost everyone has an apartment. In 2017, it was $500,000. This is US dollars. And then, look, just 3 years later, it's almost $800,000. So imagine in 3 years, the average price of an apartment appreciates by that much, right? Like, and whereas these are the other kind of larger cities in Seoul. So you can imagine it's a country that's also very much in turmoil. And as a result of that, young people, and we're going to talk about people in their 20s a lot today, that are having to work multiple jobs, man, are just like, because when apartments go up when the price of apartments is that steep, you can assume salaries and wages are not increasing at the same level. Just like, look what's going on. Like, people are just taking on any other job. People are just trying to get going and survive and make a way for themselves, right? And I want to talk about this today. I'm just giving you some data here because this is data that I'm going to draw on in our conversation. So fertility rate is that every childbearing woman has to have 2.1 children in order for a population to reproduce itself. Without 2.1 children, the population can't continue at its current rate. It's going to decline. And Korea is 0.9, meaning the Korean population is actually decreasing. And so this is the standard sort of population pyramid. You've got to have a lot of people at the bottom to take care of the people at the top, because people at the top require a lot of work. And then this is 1960, here's 1990. Look at how the bottom is really starting to grow up, but the very bottom gets smaller, 2010, and this is 2030. And there's not enough people down here. You got to have workers. No country can grow economically without people at the bottom of its population pyramid filling the jobs that need to be filled. And so every country that runs into ultimately a period of decline, unless you can find some way out of it, like AI or something like that, right? Artificial intelligence, robots, something. But otherwise, you can't continue to grow.
오늘 이야기 어떻게 보셨나요? 오늘날 20대는 물론이고 많은 이들이 투잡, 쓰리잡을 하는 걸 쉽게 볼 수 있는데요. 이 부분까지 면밀하게 짚어낸 모습에 감탄할 수밖에 없었습니다. 강의 분량이 길어 오늘은 여기서 마무리하고 다음 영상에서 내용을 이어가려고 합니다. 시청해주신 여러분 감사드립니다.
Majoring in accounting.
South Korea. My
Studies, I don't know.
지난 시간에 이어 미국 펜실베니아 주립대학의 샘 리처드 교수의 강의를 전해드리겠습니다. 한국의 유별난 교육열이 어디에서 기인한 건지, 요즘 젊은 세대들이 얼마나 치열한 상황에서 경쟁하고 있는지 다룬 내용이었는데요. 영상으로 확인해 보시죠.
Term here, Joseon. Hell Joseon. Can you guys talk about this a little? Talk about this?
I mean, it's like a term because like you've all seen it, like how expensive it is to afford an apartment in Seoul, the capital. And it's really like, it's where most people would want to live in, have a job, have their housing. But because it's so competitive to get a job or even like a good life there, we kind of call it hell Joseon.
Hey, how do you say hey?
It's like hell Joseon.
Joseon.
Yeah.
Hey, should we say what Joseon is?
So like Korea basically like started from Joseon dynasty, and like during the period like South like Korea was definitely harsh. And like these days, since it is like still very competitive to live there, we have like compound words, which is like combination of hell plus Joseon dynasty, just as back then.
The Joseon dynasty was about 500 years.
Yeah.
And everything what we know about Korea today largely came together in the Joseon dynasty.
Yeah.
Including the characters, right? The alphabet.
Right.
And so on. Uh-huh. So say more about Hell Joseon. Say Hil.
So,
What else would the rest of you add to this?
like as long as I remember, like as a student when I was back in Korea, I was a high school student there, and I was actually preparing for like many exams there, and like 90%, like just most of the students, they studied more than like 10 or 12 hours a day. So like even I studied as much as I could, it was just the average. So I remember it was very competitive.
And so the idea is that no matter what you do, you're like spinning your wheels to try to keep up with everybody else.
Right.
And you never know if you can, because are you ever going to and you doesn't matter how much you study, you can always study more, and there's always someone else studying more. And then when you finally get a job, maybe you get a job, or you're graduating, now you're competing with all these other people, and you're back on the hamster wheel. And then once you get a job, maybe you're not making enough money, or you're working and working and working, and no matter what, it's like hell. It's like Squid Game, in a way, right?
So like once before, like back in high school, I had a talk with the academic counselor back in high school, and then she said even if you study really hard during the vacation, that will just leave you as just the average, because everyone's gonna study hard during the period.
So that would sound like hell to most of you all, I would assume, right? Do you guys want to add anything to this idea?
Okay, so basically it means it's more harder for our generation to proceed compared to our parents' generation. Mm-hmm. For example, it was okay to succeed for our parents' generation, when they had to get a loan and they were able to buy apartments. Mm-hmm. But today it's really complicated and there's a lot of restrictions and it's more competitive. So yeah, literally it means it's hell for our generations compared to our parents' generations.
Talk about these. Tell people what these Hagwons are. What is this?
Okay, so Hagwon is academic lessons that students take after school. It may be just tutor or just normal lessons from another professionals. So, Koreans are they're really into education. So going to more than 3 Hagwons per day or maybe 5, it's really normal for Koreans.
To add on, there are districts of Hagwons. So there are different districts within Seoul. Some of them, there are Hagwons populated within the district. So the street would be full of buildings, and within the building there would be full of Hagwons, for math, science, English, foreign languages. There will be Hagwon for literally anything, any subject you can think of.
Okay, so hang on. So let's be clear here. You go to school, then you have lunch, and you go to afternoon school. Yeah? That's your regular school, which is already longer than in most places in the U.S., right? What's the average school day?
So normally it starts at 8, I think, and then ends at 3 afternoon. So that's only school. And
okay,
then,
so everyone goes to school, right? Okay, so all right, go ahead.
And then after school, when I was in middle school, I went to 2 or 3 Hagwons. It's basically line tutoring, at line tutors, but in some tutoring, if you get, they test you, and then if you don't get high scores, they don't send you home. So
wait, so you get locked into a Hagwon?
So basically a few days I couldn't go to home, in the 3 or 4 in the morning.
Wait, so you're paying, your parents are paying for this, right? Your parents pay for this. The Hagwons you pay for.
Yeah.
Right.
$300, $400 a month.
Okay. And it could be a lot more. If you have a lot of money,
Yeah.
obviously you're going to pay a lot of money. Okay, wait. And so then how long might you stay at a Hagwon? So after school, it's 3 o'clock, you would go directly to the tutoring? Or would you go home first? Or how do you do what?
Yeah.
And then you go?
Yeah.
What's the latest people stay at Hagwon? What then until when?
So basically 2 or 3 in the morning maybe, but during my middle school year, the law got changed. Hagwon cannot, hold students in their, until 10 o'clock. So basically, every Hagwon should end at 10 o'clock. But, there's the other way. They get apartments in the private, and then they collect students. And then they hold students until 2 or 3 in the morning. So basically, law doesn't mean anything.
Wait, hang on. Can someone, Leah, Junho, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, so there was a restriction from the government not to like block students until 10 p.m. So Hagwons, they started to gather people at real like private places like Do-hyung mentioned, or some Hagwons, they opened at 4 a.m. So like students would wake up at 3 a.m. and start their Hagwon at 4 a.m.
Before they go to school.
Yeah, before they go to school, because the
83% of Korean, about 83% of Korean 5-year-olds go to Hagwons. And about 36% of Korean 2-year-olds go to Hagwons. Dude, so we're not talking 2-year-olds aren't going 5 days a week till 2 in the morning. I mean, the average, this was one particular study, the average is like, like 2 sessions a week. And for 5-year-olds, it's like 50-minute sessions 5 days a week. But the point is, you're doing tutoring. Everyone, 83%. Y'all, something. If 70% of American 25 to 34-year-olds had college degrees, trust me, you all would be going to Hagwons also, because you'd be competing. As it is, when you graduate from Penn State, you have the idea, okay, you're going to find a job. But if you were competing with twice as many people with college degrees here or back home, wherever you're from, if you're not from the United States,